My life is good. I write was hood. I might get to it. Not out the woods, so bro, I got to do it. Be a monster. That's why my mantra.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Today we'll be covering a story that would be funny if it wasn't so sad. The many arrests of Tammy Sunny Sytch. Now, for those of you who don't know, Tammy Sytch, aka Sunny, was arrested again on February the 24th in Keansburg, New Jersey, on about 10 separate charges. These, over the last 8 or 9 years, Sunny has been arrested seemingly 70 times. There's been a lot, and I'm going to go through many of her arrests here today just to let people know that this chick has had so many opportunities. In wrestling, we talk a lot about Jeff Hardy. We talk a lot about Scott Hall. We talk about people who screw up a lot. Sunny, for some reason, always misses that conversation. It's only when Sunny gets arrested that people even remember that Sunny exists. But she is a bigger train wreck than most of the men in the pro wrestling business, bar none. Outside of the guys who maybe have drunk or actually killed themselves, Sunny seemingly is worse than Scott Hall, Jake the Snake Roberts, Jeff Hardy, and so many others. In so much as she has, I think on average, more arrests than any of them. Now, she does, for some reason, she has avoided some of the more embarrassing things that Jake Snake Roberts and Scott Hall have gone through. For instance, they were still in demand as wrestlers, so there's video of them stumbling around, being drunk, not really knowing whether they're coming and going. So yeah, when it comes to, hey, public drunkenness or public drug use that is recorded on video, like Jeff Hardy stumbling around in TNA, she doesn't have anything like that, at least not till I know of. But when you look behind the scenes, I'm pretty sure that she's been arrested and brought up on more charges than any other male wrestler that I can think of off the top of my head. And so let's go through this. 2012, Branford, Connecticut. Sunny is 39 years old. September the 11th, 2012, she is arrested for disorderly conduct. The story goes that Sunny was drunk. She accused her boyfriend, who was 27 years old, a pro wrestler and a musician. She accused him of cheating. She then attacked him and pulled his hair. She then put him in a, quote, UFC chokehold. She was out on bail. A protective order was issued. The very next day, September the 12th, 2012, Sunny was arrested for disorderly conduct, strangulation, violation of a restraining order. The story goes that Sunny climbed through the kitchen window back into the home where she attacked the man the day before. Police say it wasn't a violation of a protection order, so they left. But they waited around and saw Sunny shoving the young man and pushing him inside. Then they saw her choking him. She was released on bail again. The very next day, September the 13th, 2012, she's arrested again for violating a restraining order. Sunny returned to the home and, when arrested, claimed that the man had invited her in. So yes, she was arrested 3 days straight. 3 different arrests, 2 for violating a protection order. Just imagine if a woman had a restraining order on a man and that man violated that restraining order 2 times within a 48-hour period. How big of a ruckus will be going on in the criminal justice system. October the 10th, 2012, she was arrested on criminal mischief, 3 more counts of violating a protection order. Sunny spends 114 days in jail. While she was in jail, she was diagnosed with HPV, which developed into cervical cancer. She ended up having a hysterectomy and was released from jail cancer-free. So there is a positive. But then we get to 2015. We got some DUIs. So these are going to be me actually reading what occurred. So it says, May 30th, 2015, Sytch stopped by Mahoning Township, Pennsylvania police after being seen driving erratically in a Walmart parking lot. Testing showed she had a 0.25% blood alcohol level at the time of her arrest. This is coming from PW Insider, by the way. On June 1st, 2015, Sytch was pulled over after her car crossed the solid center yellow line several times, then entered oncoming traffic on Interchange Road in Layton, Pennsylvania. Sytch was unable to provide proof of insurance or a driver's license and was identified only after authorities checked records. Trooper Jonathan Lazarchik of the Pennsylvania State Police reported that her eyes were bloodshot and glassy and that Sytch smelled like alcohol. Authorities discovered an open bottle of Coors Light in the passenger side of the vehicle, as well as another 11 unopened. 11. The open cap of the Coors Light was on the floor of her passenger side. Sytch claimed she had been drinking the night before, was driving to pick up milk and eggs when asked to get out of the vehicle, staggered, had problems with her balance, and needed to lean on her car to maintain her balance. Her blood alcohol content was 0.3%. On June 20th, 2015, Sytch crashed her car into a ditch in Towaminesburg Township at 10:40 p.m., claiming to the authorities that her GPS had told her to make a, quote, sudden turn, which caused her to turn wide and end up in the ditch. Sytch told authorities that she was unable to back the car out. Corporal Sean Noonan of the Pennsylvania State Police observed the odor of alcohol and bloodshot eyes. He requested Sytch take a field sobriety test, but she claimed to be, quote, in too much pain due to her recently blacking out and falling down the steps. She was placed under arrest for DUI and was given a breathalyzer test back at the police barracks. The result of the test were 0.078%. This is numerous times that she has been arrested for DUIs. Those were 3 DUIs just in 2015. 2016, Judge Matica sentenced Sytch to 97 days in jail, giving her credit for 95 days spent in rehab. The final 60 days were paid for by WWE, who had reversed a previous stance that cut her off from assistance via their wellness policy after Sytch criticized the choice of rehab facilities WWE had chosen for her on their dime in a DVD interview. Sytch was also given 2 days credit for time spent in jail. Yes, WWE paid for all of her rehab costs in 2012. And here it is, 2016. She's still getting in trouble. So here we go again. August 18th, 2016. She was arrested once more. She was given 5 years probation. Just 18 days into that 5-year probationary period, Sytch was arrested in Northampton County, Pennsylvania. In that case, she pled guilty to driving without a license, driving an unregistered vehicle, operating a vehicle without required financial responsibility, aka no insurance, displaying plate card in an improper vehicle, operating a vehicle without valid inspection, and driving without evidence of an emission inspection, which was required in the state of Pennsylvania. She was fined $1,500 as part of the state's agreement that prosecutors dropped the case, the most severe charges against her, which was receiving stolen property. Prosecutors in that case also opted to drop a charge of fraudulent use or removal of registered license plates as part of their agreement. She was then rushed to the hospital on September the 12th, 2016. On that, she was rushed to the hospital because she was drunk again. That day, she was charged with possession of alcohol, as well as being under the influence of alcohol, both of which violated her zero tolerance of her probation. So she was released from the hospital on September the 20th, 2016. So she was in the hospital for 8 days. 3 days after she was released from the hospital on September the 23rd, 2016, she was arrested again. Court records cite that on that date, Sytch was again charged with being under the influence of alcohol, a third violation of her zero tolerance policy of her probation of August 2016. Shortly thereafter, Sytch was taken into custody, apparently from the hospital, and incarcerated at Carbon County Correctional Facility in Pennsylvania. I don't remember any man ever getting this much benefit from the court system. She violated that court order several times. In less than 6 weeks after her 5-year probationary period, she was arrested for 5 months before being paroled again in February of 2017. Sonny was in jail for about 5 months before being paroled in February 2017. Once again, put on a zero tolerance threshold for drugs and alcohol, and she was not allowed to miss any urine testing. During 2017, Sonny moved to a sober house, which cost about $10,000 a month in Tribeca. She had 24-hour therapists, case managers, doctors, and had promised to stay clean. She was promising to stay clean, but in August 22nd, 2017, a petition was filed requesting that Judge Matica revoke Sytch's parole, and he did. A bench warrant for Sytch's arrest was issued the following day, but officials had been unable to serve the warrant and apprehended Sytch as she was no longer in Pennsylvania. So she skipped town. She moved to New Jersey. She was then charged with a DUI on January the 23rd, 2018. She was later charged with DUI and leaving the scene of an accident on February the 2nd, 2018, where she was in a car accident at almost 9 in the morning. Allegedly, she fled the scene. When she failed to appear in the court regarding those two DUI arrests, she was arrested in New Jersey again and charged with multiple contempts, disobedience, and resistance charges. So, she was sent back to Carbon County Correctional Facility. In March 2018, an order was issued by Judge Matica to remove Sytch from the Pennsylvania's Accelerated Rehabilitative Disposition Program, a pretrial diversion program for individuals with limited to no prior criminal record who are carefully screened by District Attorney's Office for admission and program designed to be rehabilitative as opposed to punishing. Sytch remained incarcerated at Carbon County until October the 9th, 2018. So, Sonny, at the age of 46 years old, had gotten 6 DUIs. And by the time 2019 rolled around, she had 6 DUIs. She got 3 DUIs in 2018 alone. She was released from Carbon County jail on October the 9th, 2018. On Saturday, February 23rd, 2019, Sytch was pulled over at 6:30 p.m. on DuPont Avenue in Sea Heights. In that incident, Sytch was arrested for driving while intoxicated, the 6th time since 2015, which had been arrested for such an offense. 6 DUIs in February of 2019. That made her 6th DUI. That evening, Sytch was given a summons for having an open alcohol container in a motor vehicle, for consumption of alcohol in a motor vehicle, reckless driving, failure to stop at a stop sign, driving with the wrong way on a one-way street, driving with a suspended driver's license, and careless driving. This is the 3rd state in which she's caught in DUIs. And this is her 6th DUI. Insane. So she's had outstanding warrants, and so in Seaside Heights Police Department, she was immediately placed into the custody of the Homemill Police Department, and she was now being served with warrants at a Homemill, New Jersey Police Department, a $1,500 fine and a $1,000 fine, stemming from her January and February arrests in New Jersey. She was now charged with contempt of court, disobedience, resistance of court command in relation to these charges. She remained incarcerated in Monmouth County Correctional Facility in Freehold, New Jersey, until she was transferred back to Pennsylvania on March the 20th, 2019. This would make the second time in as many years that Sytch was extradited from New Jersey to Pennsylvania because Sytch had violated her Pennsylvania parole. Court records indicated that Sytch had missed a scheduled drug test on February the 11th, 2019, and failed to report as directed to her parole officer. She had also failed to maintain a stable residence or report her whereabouts. This triggered a bench warrant for her arrest on February the 15th, 2019. The same day, the Carbon County Probation Department filed a motion to revoke her 2018 parole. So when she was arrested in New Jersey, she was transferred back to Pennsylvania, where she remained until she was granted parole again on February 21st, 2020. 5 months later, Sytch was arrested on the morning of July 13th, 2020, charged with operating a motor vehicle during a second license suspension, eluding a police officer, and contempt violation of a domestic violence restraining order. The arrest immediately triggered yet again the state of Pennsylvania seeking to revoke her parole. Pennsylvania court reports indicated that until her July the 13th, 2020 arrest, Sytch had been adhering to her parole requirements, including monthly payments of restitution. So, in June of 2021, Sytch had released a statement saying that she had cleared up all of her legal matters in New Jersey and Pennsylvania as she was released from jail yet again. This was in, again, June of 2021. 2020, I'm sorry. Then we get to 2021, where January 13th, Sytch was arrested on January 13th for allegedly threatening to kill an intimate partner while raising a pair of scissors in the air towards the victim during a domestic dispute. The police report for Sytch's January arrest stated that she did this in clear view of the police officer who witnessed the incident. The arrest report also stated that Sytch appeared to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol during the altercation. Her intimate partner was not injured. This brings us to February 2022, where Tammy Sytch, now 49, was arrested in Keansburg, New Jersey on 11 different charges: operating under the influence of liquor or drugs, driving after driver's license or registration had been suspended or revoked, careless driving likely to endanger person or property, reckless driving, failure to wear seat equipment, responsibility of the driver, driving without a license, failure to possess a driver's license, failure to possess driving registration, failure to possess an insurance card, failure to install interlock or drive a car without an interlock, operating a motor vehicle during a license suspension, which was her second violation. For the record, her January the 13th, 2022 case is still open. The charges there was unlawful possession of a weapon and making terroristic threats. So the terroristic threats was obviously she threatened to kill her boyfriend with a pair of scissors. So of all of the wrestlers who have screwed up their lives, has anybody screwed up their life more than Tammy? I honestly don't think so. I honestly don't think so. Thank God she doesn't have children. Could you imagine if she has children? What kind of life they would have had with this absolute, not even a train wreck. This is like the explosion of the Columbia. This is an absolute disaster. Her life is a disaster. And I have yet to see any DDP yoga reach outs to Sunny, any well wishes for Sunny, anybody trying to dog Sunny or whatever. I have yet to see any of that stuff. She has been flying so under the radar, despite the fact that a lot of this stuff is domestic violence or her making threats or assaulting a man that she usually lives with. The excessive amounts of drugs and alcohol especially. How many times can she violate parole? It's like, it's such a weird thing that somebody like me who thinks that some of this stuff, like, driving without a seatbelt, like, so what? She don't have a license, so what? But the assaults, the threats, and she was not really held accountable for any of that stuff. And you just see how it just proliferates. It's been 9 years. She has over 6 DUIs. I don't understand how we aren't talking more about Sunny being a complete and total episode of Dark Side of the Ring by herself. I mean, before we even talk about Chris Candido and all that kind of stuff, we didn't even talk about that. She is an episode of Dark Side of the Ring by herself. It's just all of this stuff. The OnlyFans, the pornos. And I didn't even talk about that. This was just about the arrests. Not about the mysterious hospital visit she had in 2021 where she was in the hospital for 10 days and wouldn't tell anybody why she was in there. We didn't even get into all of that stuff. It is absurd how this woman has wrecked her own life. And yet she still has fans. And yet We always hear about all of the guys who have screwed themselves up in the business. And Sonny is probably worse than all of them. If you disagree and you think Jake Roberts or Scott Hall or Jeff Hardy or maybe somebody who didn't OD and die is worse off than Sonny, please let me know in the comments. If you know somebody in the wrestling business who is worse off than Sonny, that's still walking the earth. Because we know, obviously, Chris Benoit or, somebody like that. But can it be possible that somebody is this bad, continuously walking the earth, and pretty much goes unmentioned when people talk about alcohol, drugs, and wrestling? WWE has been paying for rehabs for Sonny for 10 years. 10 years. It's unreal. What more can you do? Outside of chaining her to the radiator, like Black Snake Moan, what can you do? What more can you do? What more can you ask for? She is a really sad case. Truly a sad case. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you guys later.